Welcome back to the next episode of Unplugged. Today I'm joined with Keira Penney, who is the Head of Creative at Girls in Marketing. So Keira, do you want to kick off and tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Girls in Marketing?
Yeah, so I'm Keira. I'm Head of Creative at Girls in Marketing. I'm 21 years old and I do everything social media, podcasting, and live and breathe social media.
So how do you measure the effectiveness of creative strategies in marketing? Are there any key metrics that you look for that might equal success in your eyes?
I think creativity is always a difficult one to always measure the success. Obviously with marketing you can kind of measure that a bit more closely, but I think the main thing with measuring creativity is you've got two types of ways to track it. So it's what is the quantitative way, which is like the standard way, so with metrics, so engagement rate, everything like that in terms of social media. And then you've got obviously the qualitative data, which is more speaking to people, seeing other people's opinions on your creative ideas, your marketing campaigns. And therefore you've got that two types of data you can kind of play around with. So I think, having both types of data and tracking both ways, quantitatively and qualitatively, is essential.
What are some common challenges that businesses face when trying to incorporate creativity into their strategies, and how would you recommend to resolve these?
I think the biggest probably problem that I kind of speak to people around is getting the approval and the sign off for the creative ideas. So it's trying to convince your boss or your manager that the creative ideas are going to work, and I think that is a really hard thing to do. Obviously it depends on your manager. Very fortunate that my manager's kind of like gives me the freedom to do whatever I want and kind of trusts me with that, but I know not everyone's in that position. So I think in terms of trying to prove yourself and pitch your ideas, it is really about kind of trying to estimate the success, trying to predict the success, but also showing other examples of similar creative ideas that have worked for other brands, ideally your competitors if you do have any, and showing how being creative and doing these out-of-the-box things, out-of-the-box campaigns can benefit you as your marketing team, as your brand, and really get your brand out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. So you've built your own personal brand to over 35,000 followers. How has creativity played a role in shaping your personal brand?
That seems like quite a lot when you say it like that, but I don't know. I think I've very much built my personal brand like accidentally. I never set out to like have a certain amount of followers or like to want to grow my LinkedIn. It's kind of been like a natural progression, and in terms of like what I've done to do that, it's very much been kind of, there's so many people working in social media now, what I do, so many people working in marketing, that I've kind of had to learn to get comfortable with looking at what everyone's doing and kind of doing the opposite. So because there's so many people posted on LinkedIn now, so many people building their personal brand, whatever platform, I think it's really about kind of, looking at what other people are doing and seeing what they're doing well, what works well, what doesn't work as well, but also just doing the opposite of what they're doing and just really trying to stand out from the rest of the content that's being posted online, because there's millions of stuff that's posted online. It's crazy. But that's it. Just say, trying to practice that, doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing.
No, it makes sense. I'm sure many people would say they're not creative. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips on if you think creativity can be taught, or how can you reignite your creative flame?
I really think creativity, anyone can be creative. You just really have to drive down into wanting to be creative, but also establishing how your creativity works the best. So it'll be different for everyone. I always find if I sit down at a screen and think I have to write 10 million ideas today, like it's not going to work. But I think creativity comes to you when you're not necessarily thinking about it. So I think the subconscious mind, I feel like that really has an impact on, so for example, when you're in the shower, I always get good ideas when I'm in the shower or when I'm at the gym or doing stuff like that. So I think when you're not always focusing on it directly, that's when your creativity can come. And I definitely think anyone can learn to be creative. It's just learning more about yourself, and also consuming creative content is essential.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that point. And finally, looking into the future, how do you see creativity evolving in the future of business and in personal branding?
So I definitely think we're going to see more of these like crazy ideas. I think there's definitely going to be less of the direct link between marketing and brands. I think we're going to see more brands do crazy things that don't directly align with their brand, but because it's so absurd, because it's so outrageous, it kind of works because people talk about it. I think we're definitely going to see more of that, like the crazy collaborations we see that shouldn't make sense, they shouldn't kind of connect, but for some reason they do because everyone's talking about them. So I think we're going to see more kind of absurd ideas, outrageous ideas, and yeah.
No, I'm sure we will. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
But no, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next time.